been a doozy, but congratulations. You have made it to the end of the week. Today is Friday, December 15th, 2023. Welcome inside the Treehouse. Time to leave your worries outside. Join me, Dan O'Malley, along with Trey and Raj Sharma as we dive fully into this beautiful end of the week. Almost to the holidays. So close to a Christmas break, we can taste it. And it tastes like peppermint bark and, for me, South Florida, which is an odd combination, and I don't recommend it.
What is it? Like stale urine would be the other part of taste of Florida?
There is that.
That's all.
I would like to point out, I have never smoked meth. I've never been around anybody that smoked meth, but visiting Florida here as many times as I have in recent years, especially the southern tip of the Miami area, it does seem to have an air of meth about it. Sort of like an air freshener, but it's kind of having the opposite effect.
Yeah, and then there's the whole it's a port, so it's all the cruises go out of there. So now you have all the cruise people, and they usually stay for a couple of days before the cruise and then after, and so you have that mix of people, and then the locals, and then you got South Beach, which if you talk about Miami, that's what everybody thinks of, is that one small part of Miami that everybody has.
That's
all the
not
money.
The part I've ever been to. One, because I'm not a douchebag, and so therefore that doesn't interest me.
Right.
The problem is the rest of Miami that I have some experience with having to go to Florida and ship things to the islands like we're doing now.
Yeah.
The underbelly of Miami is not better than the douchiness of South Beach.
Right.
Like Trey and I were talking a little bit on the football podcast about how I can understand how, the Dolphins can be kind of bipolar because the city's kind of bipolar. It's got some cool stuff, but it got some stuff. I will say this, though. In the area where we have stayed now for the second time, which is kind of around the airport, the traffic sucks. The roads are making absolutely no sense. The people that drive here, that seemingly like most places that are too congested, don't seem to really know what they're doing either. But there's a place called Bryson's. It's an Irish pub, and it's I don't know, like maybe 2 miles from this Best Western where we're staying right now.
Okay.
Best chicken wings we've ever had.
Really?
So on one hand, we're in the middle of a trash heap, which, by the way, I feel like I counted 4 or 5 landfills between St. Augustine, Florida, and Miami, which seems like a lot, but I guess since it's Florida, anyway, it's just it's an interesting thing to find a gem of a place inside of a trash heap. It's like, okay, the bad news is I'm in the middle of a trash heap that is the south tip of Florida. The good news is I found the best wings I've ever had in my life.
Wow. How did we find this place?
We found it last year.
Got it. Okay, so just went on like bars near me or chicken wings near me, something like that.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it was. Thank you, Google.
Next
Dan,
time you're here,
you came up with Florida's next slogan in the football show.
Which was, I forget already.
Florida, you don't know.
Speaking of that, how was the football show? I missed it. I'm sorry about that.
It's good. No worries. It's been a weird schedule this week with me traveling and trying to figure out everything. It was good. The one thing I will say, though, I had a pretty good line in my head as Trey and I were doing the football show, but I never found a way to kind of steer it back to it. Okay. So I'm just going to force it on you guys now. And that was, we were talking about how in order to really have success against the Eagles, what any team needs to do, but this is what the Cowboys did, and it's obviously what the 49ers did the week before, and that is you got to get on them early because the Eagles are not really, their offense is not exactly designed to come from behind. It's more designed to get a lead and hold it and wear you down.
Sure.
And the thought I had about 30 seconds after I said that during the football show, I thought, okay, so playing the Eagles is kind of like a gangbang. What you want to do is you want to get on them early. You don't want to be near the end of the line because they're very difficult to come from behind. So what you need to do is get on them early when things are cleaner.
Not a situation where you want to grind the clock down, is what you're saying.
No. This is not the long game. This is where you want to get in and get out.
So you don't want to be sloppy seconds with the Eagles.
No, you don't. Because no one wants to come after the Jaguars. Or the 49ers, those old men, anything that'll tear it up, or or like the 49ers, you don't want to be behind some old men sifting for gold. And you definitely don't want to follow the Giants.
I love all that happened in your head in 30 seconds.
Yeah, somehow I couldn't find a way to steer the conversation back to her. But here we are. We're able to do it here, and that makes me happy now. And it makes me appreciate this Friday all the better.
That's amazing. Oh my God, that's fantastic. And I was watching, if you guys get a chance to watch any, I don't know if it's any team, but if you watch the recap, after the game, if you go on YouTube, the Eagles will have their whole little broadcasting team that'll recap the game. And it's very pro Eagles, even in a loss. They're like, we looked really good, and they said this, and they go, had we not fumbled the ball 3 times? And I was like, fumbled? No. I don't know if that's what you call it there, but here we call it stripping it. We call that taking it from you, which is what we did.
Yeah, no, I distinctly remember that Stephon Gilmore ripping the ball out thing. It was not that guy stepped on a Lego and then threw the ball down in sheer agony and pain. No, Stephon Gilmore reached in and grabbed the ball and took it from him like it owed him money. That's how it's supposed to happen. And so I could see, as an Eagles fan, he'd be like, well, if he hadn't have fumbled, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
he took that.
Yeah, it was their sportscaster, their newscast that does the sports. There's 3 of them. And they're like, well, when do you start? One guy, they were just kind of looking at each other. And one lady goes, why don't you start? And he goes, we looked really good. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, the score doesn't reflect that, number one.
And according to the very astute analysis by the little blonde girl I saw the next morning, her parents were at a restaurant. I don't know where this happened, but there was enough Eagles fans in this place to where they sent this cute little blonde girl to the tables of the Eagles fans, and she went up to them and just would say, Cowboys by 20, and then go running back to her parents.
Oh, wow.
And to their credit, the Eagles fans did not murder her, which I thought they would have.
I thought that was going to be the end of the story, was the what time the funeral was going to be.
I think had that been outside the stadium, it definitely would have had a different ending. Instead, it might have been, I don't know if it was inside an Applebee's or something. So maybe they were
that'd be different than outside the stadium. Because $2 margarita is going to make everyone make some good decisions.
All I'm saying is it was adorable, and maybe it was because the way she said it, it was kind of sweet. Yeah. Which, if we're being honest, that's how Texans are. It's sort of like the coming up to you and saying, "Oh, bless your heart."
Yeah.
It sounds nice. The look in the eye is genuine with concern. But we all know the reality is when a Texan says, bless your heart, it's them calling you just effing stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, that little girl's lucky. I would still contend that they didn't have any D-cell batteries at the table, because they probably would have thrown them at her.
Yeah. It'd be the one episode where we're not looking for a foster home for a dog. We're like, we have a blonde who likes to yell at Eagles fans. She was orphaned yesterday when they killed her family.
It was interesting though, because I will say this, it was it's a quick, wonderful snapshot of Eagles fans, children, versus Cowboys fans, children, right?
Yeah.
So you got what seems to be, in good-natured fun, Cowboys fans take their adorable little daughter, blonde and cute, eventual Cowboys cheerleader type, and send her to the tables, and they just tell her Cowboys by 20. Just say that to them, and then she walks back. And it's cute, and it's sweet, and all.
Yeah.
And she doesn't get murdered at whatever restaurant this was. Clearly, you're right, Trey. It was not Applebee's because the margarita would have had a different situation. But like 2 weeks prior, when the Bills, I believe it was, visited Philadelphia, there was video of a little boy outside the stadium. I say little boy, he was probably like 8 or 9 years old. So older than this little girl. 8 or 9-year-old boy walks up to a Buffalo Bills fan outside the stadium after the game and reaches out his hand as if to say, hey, good game. And the Bills fan, being from upstate New York and polite with manners, he's like, oh my God, a nice Eagles fan. So he reaches his hand out to shake the kid's hand saying, yeah, good game. You guys did well. And instead, the little Eagles brat took his hand back and then flipped the dude off right in his face.
Wow. That's why condoms. That's why you have those. Yeah, I would have. I don't. Can you? It's not India. India, you can hit a kid and it's okay. Like here, I think there's laws.
I think at that point, the guy would have been justified because I think the rest of the planet would have been like, totally fine. It's an Eagles fan.
Yeah, 100%. Like that's what you have to say in front of. Like you got to get to the judge. So you have to get booked in. You have to get arrested, and then when the judge is like, "How do you plead?" I'm like, not guilty by the reason of he was an Eagles fan.
Dismissed. And not only that, but we're going to charge this kid as an adult for, some type of disorderly conduct.
I mean, Bills fans are known to get a little wild too. So I don't know. That kid could have been suplexed off the table, the buffet table.
But have either of you been to Buffalo?
No.
That's all they have is sports. Like it's a very industrial town. There's not a lot to do, so it's a lot. It's sports. So when they get rowdy, they have no other outlet. It's not like everybody's like, where the best strip clubs are? Buffalo. Now you have that image.
I bet the Google reviews on the Applebee's in Buffalo are quite handy.
Although I wouldn't mind reading the review for the strip club. like isn't it New York City? The main one that Stern always talked about was Scores.
Yes.
In Buffalo, is it Underscores?
I bet their buffet gets better reviews.
You're listening to the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
You're in the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
This segment of the Treehouse is brought to you by the Dallas Comedy Club, where you can see Trey Mack tonight and tomorrow night. That's this weekend at the Dallas Comedy Club, the 15th and the 16th. He's been on Kevin Hart's Heart of the City on Comedy Central, and his special Have Fun is currently on Amazon Prime. So for ticket info to see Trey Mack at the Dallas Comedy Club, go to dallas-comedyclub.com. Also go there for information on comedy 5 nights a week at the Dallas Comedy Club, dallas-comedyclub.com. Funny happens here. And, of course, by our friends at Cook DFW Roofing and Restoration. Give them a call for your free roof inspection. 833-COOK-DFW. That's 833-COOK-DFW or cookdfw.com. Thanks to our friends at Cook DFW Roofing and Restoration. And I believe we had a couple of shirts from the road show left over, Trey, because Kerry Cook and Daniel Cook were asking, since they were out of town, they couldn't make it, asking if there were a couple that we could hang on to them. I think we had a couple left over, so I said sure.
We have, we pretty much sold out everything. I think we have one XL and one double XL. That's it.
All right. Well, they're going to be sleeping in roomy shirts then.
Yeah, that merch went quick. So that was nice to see, is how fast the merch got bought up. Because we were I know we were worried, like, how many do we order? What are we going to sell? We've had this problem in the past where we've ordered too many and then you're starting to plug them on every show. And so, yeah, this was nice to see. So,
yeah, especially because, and not just because, well, okay, are we going to sell enough shirts based on how many we order, but also because we also had other stuff available, like the cups and the stickers and other things. Yeah. So you don't want to have too many things
Yeah.
pile on top of people.
Yeah.
So it overall went well. The road show was a lot of fun. I found out from the Warren Center that the toys that everyone brought at the event and the ones that were purchased on their Amazon wish list virtually for those that couldn't make it to the road show are already having a huge impact on families.
Oh, wow.
Because they had already taken up one collection, and because of prices up on everything across the board, that unfortunately includes toys.
Mm-hmm.
And so for families that are, being hit by hard times, that makes it even worse.
Yeah.
Which is something to think about, whether it's purely inflation or also knowing that there are companies that are just straight up using inflation as a reason to just raise prices on things and say it's because of inflation. Someone put it very eloquently the other day online that I saw, and that was one of the most classic Christmas tales we have is that of the Christmas Carol, Scrooge.
Mm-hmm.
The whole point of that is to get an old rich man to treat his employees just a little bit better.
Yeah.
And not be so goddamn greedy.
Yeah.
But it's a lesson that clearly not everyone has really learned. Or just imagine this. And I know this has happened because I believe it's the Dallas Theater Center does a Christmas Carol every year, and they have forever. Imagine a CEO of a Dallas company going and watching a Christmas Carol and getting all warm and fuzzy with the Christmas spirit and going, oh, what a great story. And then the next morning he goes on an earnings call and tells everyone, hey, we're raising prices on everything because we can.
Yeah.
It's just sad. So anyway, my point is those toys that everyone donated are already having a huge impact. And so we thank you for those who bought and or brought toys for the kids at the Warren Center. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I wanted to help, but I'm also lazy. So when Tara put up the wish list that you could just buy on Amazon, I was like, oh, okay, this is the best thing. This is the easiest thing in the world. I was like, click. I'm finished. Like,
yeah.
I don't like.
And that reminds me, I need to thank you both for the gifts that you gave me, Raj. The Reese's peanut butter cups with the Reese's Puff cereal inside. Pretty good. I love texture in things. Probably those make it a little bit sweeter than the regular Reese's peanut butter cups, and it made for excellent road trip food. Yes. In our van driving across the southern half of the United States. And Trey, the Irish whiskey that I still love the fact that despite the fact that you're over 7 years sober, you have no problem going into a liquor store and buying liquor for your friend who obviously has a drinking problem. So I appreciate it.
Did you enjoy it?
I did as much as I could because it was a big bottle and I can't, our bag that we checked was already too heavy. So it was a little too big to put on the plane. So I enjoyed some.
You drove to Florida.
I did, but that's a big bottle of whiskey, and it was going to be difficult to fly it to the island. So I gave it to Jerry.
Wow.
But I did try it, and it is fantastic.
So you tried something and then regifted it?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't regift it. I paid it forward. I gave it to someone in need.
No, that's not
Jerry still works in radio. Trust me, he's in need.
No, I saw the transaction. Actually, Dan gave it to Jerry and then realized he would look like an even bigger ass if he hadn't even tried it. So then he kind of made Jerry give him a sip.
Wow.
That's not the way I remember it, Trey.
Yeah, well, the fact that you remember it at all is good.
That's just sad.
Here's what happened. I told Jerry, I said, I'm going to give this to you for safekeeping. So next time I'm in town, I'm going to enjoy this lovely gift that Trey gave me. So this is not yours to consume and enjoy.
I thought
you can have a little bit just, for the handling of it. But that is my gift from my friend Trey, and I plan on enjoying it the next time I'm in town.
First of all,
yep.
I don't know what I would be more disappointed in is if someone related to this show other than me, if you gave them a bottle of whiskey and it wasn't drink, that would probably be the most shocking thing. If anyone are involved with the show so yeah, you really think a year from now Jerry's going to have that bottle?
Yes.
No,
and
here's
why. And here's why. Because Jerry has a set of morals that you wouldn't expect from someone that we make fun of for basically being a vagrant, murderer. But he really does. So it's like you tell Jerry to do something, he will absolutely do it. And if you say not to do something, he will absolutely not do that thing. So I believe when I told him you were not to consume this, but to save it for me, he will do it.
Which is interesting because you said just a second ago when I said you gave that gift away, you were like, I gave it to somebody in need. So that's two conflicting statements all in the same segment. So you could have waited until the next.
Did you go to journalism school between the road show and now?
I'm just saying, I've been watching a lot of courtroom TV, and you just basically nullified your own statement with your own statement. This is why you never testify for yourself in a courtroom. But I, as a good friend, thoroughly enjoy it. It is very nice. I never had that one before. And it is smooth. I don't know how much you consumed of it then, but it's
more than I should have.
It's a treat. I will say that, like for other drinks and whatever you're having around the house, like that one, like I watched that, like I drank a couple glasses of that after the Cowboys won. Like that was the nice little treat at the end. So
I'm glad you enjoyed yours, Raj.
I did not give mine away to somebody else directly in front of the person who then gave it to me. So
Dan in his defense was trying to be slick.
I've just never heard of anybody re-gifting directly after receiving the gift.
Well, look, we were hitting the road the next morning. Time was of the essence.
But again, like Trey said, you were why didn't you just put it in the car?
Because I wasn't going to be able to drink all of it between Dallas and Miami.
What? That's like...
That's when you just say, I object.
I object, Your Honor. The witness is full of shit.
You're in the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
You're listening to the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
This segment of the Treehouse is brought to you by our friends at Brooks Plumbing. Jacqueline from Brooks Plumbing did make it out to that road show this last weekend. We appreciate that. Even brought along some Brooks Plumbing coffee mugs, which I thought was kind of ironic considering how coffee has a tendency to be a bowel stimulator. So, kind of smart on Brooks Plumbing part. I'm going to give you coffee cups, and next thing you know, you'll be calling us after everything's clogged. So give Brooks Plumbing a call for any and all of your plumbing wants and needs. 214-368-3838 and brooksplumbingtexas.com. Trey, since you're on the recording side of things, you have that new sounder ready, or do you want me to fire off on my end?
Yeah, I think you're probably gonna have to do it on your end because
no problem. Because it's not a Friday without birthdays. Today is Friday, December 15th, 2023. Birthdays today. We are looking at, trying to scroll and see the actual good familiar names on here. Alana Haim is 32 from the shows The Wire, Want You Back, and Days Are Gone. Also, Stefania Owen turns 26, played Hugh Laurie's daughter Nicole on the Hulu series Chance. Might also remember her as Beth in Krampus, which I never saw Krampus. Did you guys ever see that? It was, I guess it's the horror Christmas movie that came out, I don't know, like 10, 12 years ago, something like that. It was one of those I intended to see, but I just haven't, so I don't even know if it's any good.
How does that sound? How does it's just called Krampus? Like how does that trailer come across the screen to you, and you're like, you know what? I'm inclined to see this. Like I don't know. Like,
well, number one, it's Christmas themed, and I'll watch a lot of. First of all, I'll watch almost anything once, and if it's a Christmas themed film with a horror twinge to it or an action thing to it, like a Die Hard, I'm intrigued by that. Like the movie last year that came out with David Harbour, who played, Chief in Stranger Things. I think it was called Violent Night. He plays. Do you guys see this? He plays. You know who David Harbour is, right? From Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay. So he plays Santa Claus, and John Leguizamo plays the head of a mercenary group who takes a very wealthy family hostage and in their mansion on Christmas Eve because they want money. And at the heart of this is a little girl who is trying to run and hide from the bad guys, sort of like Home Alone. And Santa happens across this because he's there to deliver gifts, and he is not having the terrorist Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out this version of Santa Claus wasn't always, elves and Christmas dust and cookies. And turns out this guy was like a Viking warrior before he became Santa. And so Santa goes full Christmas on the terrorists, and the film is called Violent Night. I enjoyed it. Wow. Shocker.
What you just said, if you left out the names, I would have guessed that, Steven Seagal made a holiday movie.
Which I also would have seen.
A very Lundgren Christmas. Is that
Oh, it just sounds like a Steven Seagal Santa, former Navy SEAL.
in a Christmas to Kill.
Yeah.
But there was a one scene especially where this little girl who's trying to hide from the terrorist. I don't know if you guys did this as kids like I did, but if you ever saw Home Alone and you think about the actual physical damage all those traps would have on a human body, Joe Pesci, Daniel Stern, they'd have been dead somewhere, by the third pratfall, right? In this one, there's a couple of traps that this little girl sets. They're Home Alone style, but you see the actual effects. It's not this slapstick stuff where they can get up and pull a tooth out and type of thing. No, this dude took a bowling ball to the face and he's just dead.
Wow. Okay. I just want to be the people who produced Violent Night and or Krampus when they get the revenue report and there's like, oh, cool. So one person in Texas watched this. That's good to know.
There's another new one this year. It's called Silent Night. The guy, I always forget his name. He was in the 2 Suicide Squad movies. Mm-hmm. He was also the one who starred as RoboCop in the RoboCop remake. I think his name's Joel or something. And there's one where it's an action Christmas thing. It's called Silent Night. And it's like, okay, well, I want to see that.
Okay.
It's Die Hard's fault.
No, no, I think it's Oklahoma's fault.
How does Where I'm Born have anything to do with my action Christmas genre affection?
Like I just assume like wherever you were born, like that's the paper that reviews movies. Like you guys got to go see Krampus. That's what pops into my head.
I never read the review for Krampus or Die Hard inside the Bartlesville Examiner Enterprise. But now I kind of want to. Like, I'm curious, because you always look up to see what a movie's Rotten Tomatoes score is. But now I'm kind of curious what my old hometown of Bartlesville, Oklahoma thinks about the movies I love.
Okay, I'll find it and then we'll read it next time. I just want to see. I'm just surprised they have a movie critic in Bartlesville, Oklahoma.
I picture that Bartlesville still has a video rental place where you can get VHS and beta.
Out now, Krampus.
But you can't rent it because your beta version of Die Hard is like 24 years late.
And you didn't rewind. We don't got nothing to rewind it.
It's just Dale in the back with his finger just running the wheel.
We're waiting on the pencil to come in.
Look, I was born there, and I'm happy to dunk on Oklahoma any chance I get. But from you two, it's starting to feel personal. I really am curious if the Bartlesville Examiner Enterprise even has a media critic, or if they just like copy and paste it from the Tulsa World or something.
Or it's just the now playing at the drive-thru or drive-in.
It should be a drive-through.
Bartlesville, Oklahoma, home to the only drive-through movie theater. Just right on 75. All right, I'm gonna go. I'll see you guys later.
Later, bye.
See you next time in the Treehouse.